Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are available for adoption from the Frederick County Animal Control Division and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea, with me is Randy Cooper, and this morning we're going to showcase 10 of our animals that are looking for their forever homes. We're going to start off with Max. Max is a Pit Bull English Bulldog mix. He's about 3 years old. He was relinquished by his owners. They said that they just did not have enough time for Max. He is currently in foster care. You can tell he's a little bit nervous, a little bit shy. When he was in the shelter, he was very fearful of anything new. And typically a day at the shelter for any animal, everything is new. There's new sounds, there's visitors, there's all sorts of things that go on. So we placed him in foster care, and he's done remarkably well. His foster care provider has worked with some of that anxiety, some of that behavior to get him to be more comfortable. And you can witness right now, he just met Randy this morning, and he seems pretty comfortable and actually not very camera shy, so that's great. But we're looking to find him a home, preferably with someone that's got time and patience, and that is a big deal for an animal that might be shy or might be a little anxious. But he's been doing great. He does have several commands that he knows. He walks nicely on a leash. He knows how to sit, stay, shake, and down, which are great starter basics for any dog that you're going to introduce into your family. So if you're interested in adopting Max, you would want to contact us. He is going to be adopted through what we call a puppy process, meaning that we take up to 4 applications, and we're going to screen to see who would be most suitable for Max and who would be the best fit. So if you're interested in adopting Max, you want to make sure that you call the shelter for more information. Our next dog that we're going to take a look at here is Oliver. Oliver is an absolutely adorable Shih Tzu. He's about 9 years old, so he's on the senior end of the age scale. But he came to us. He was owner relinquished, turned in because he was not getting along with the small children in the family. And sometimes small children can be overwhelming to small dogs. They're just, by nature of being kids, they're very enthusiastic about things, and sometimes that does not work well for the dog. So Oliver is here. He is very affectionate, very well-mannered, very obedient, walks nicely on a leash, and relatively quiet. Sometimes small dogs like this can be pretty yappy, but he's not one of the yappy ones. We're looking to place him in a home that does not have small children, simply because when we do our adoption process, we want to make sure that animals that come from our shelter are placed in forever homes. We want to make sure that it works for everybody, and it can be discouraging if we were to adopt him out to, say, someone with a 2 or 3 year old that kind of harasses the dog in a gentle way. We want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So for his benefit, he's already 9. He certainly deserves to be placed in a home that will take care of him for the rest of his life. He is neutered. He is, and if you're thinking, he's just around 12 pounds, so he's on the smaller side. Shih Tzu in general as a breed will need professional grooming, so you want to make sure that you either know your way around a brush or you have a professional in mind that can help you at least every 6 to 8 weeks just to get him trimmed up and clipped and given a bath. He does have moderate dental disease, which is not unusual. That's something else you want to take into consideration when you're either adopting an animal or introducing an animal into your home. They have medical needs and preventative care that they need, similar to humans, so you want to make sure you've got a budget for that. You also want to make sure that you have the time and resources to provide him what he needs. So this is Oliver. He is one of my personal favorites in the shelter right now, and we're looking to find him a home. If you're interested, again, you want to stop by 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our next dog that we're going to take a look at is Wilsey. Wilsey is similar to Oliver. He's a Shih Tzu, but he's more of a mix than a pure Shih Tzu. And Wilsey here is about 10 years old. So he's another example of an older dog. He was turned in by his family. They just, not sure what they, oh, I see that they had grandchildren in the family that were allergic to him. So sometimes when that happens, that's one of the top reasons that animals are turned into our shelter. People become allergic, family members become allergic, so the dogs end up, or the cats or whatever, end up here. So Wilsey is about 10 years old. He is a senior. His adoption fee is reduced not because he's worth less, but it's an incentive for people to adopt our senior pets. So Wilsey's adoption fee would be actually $40 off the regular adoption fee. He's about almost 15 pounds, so he's a little bit bigger than Oliver. And you can kind of get an idea when we talk about some of these exotic breeds and grooming. Wilsey is an example of a Shih Tzu that he needs to be groomed. And this is what happens when you don't groom them, when you don't run a brush through them periodically. They can get matted, they can get overrun. And I know he's got beautiful brown eyes under there, but we can't see them at the moment, so we're going to make sure that we take care of that. Fortunately, we've got some volunteer groomers that help us out, and we much appreciate that when we get animals like Woolsey that need some assistance. But he's a little bit more nervous than Oliver, but Woolsey is color-coded orange. When you come to our shelter and you look at adoptable pets, we do color-code them blue, orange, or green. Green are kind of our more shy animals. Woolsey is color-coded orange. He's not terribly shy, but a little bit nervous. You'd want to make sure that if you're considering adopting him, that you understand the requirements of an older pet and have resources and time available. And certainly if you don't know those things, that's what we're here for, to help educate the public through our adoption process, through help on the floor if you come in to visit. And any questions that you have, we're here to answer. So this again is Wilsey. He's about 10 years old. He's a Shih Tzu mix, and he is in need of a forever home. Next little puppy we're going to look at is not really a puppy. He's about 2 years old. His birth date is August 31st, 2012. This is Rocky. He is a Jack Russell Chihuahua mix. Obviously black and white. He's a boy, he's neutered, and he came in with a friend. We've separated them for the moment. Both dogs were extremely shy, and sometimes in a shelter environment, dogs, cats, all animals, sometimes they do better just being apart. So we're giving Rocky some independent space to kind of get used to things here at the shelter, and he's done amazingly well. He is still color-coded green, so when we refer to our adoption color codes, green dogs, green cats, green bunnies, they are on the shy side, a little more nervous. So if you see an animal that's color-coded green, you want to make sure that you realize the purpose of our color-coding them green is that they do need some extra work. They need some extra resources, extra time, and a lot more patience. With a dog like Rocky, you want to make sure that you've got a consistent environment for him. We are making the recommendation that he should be in a home with older children or adults only. And again, that's case by case. There's no cut and dry. We like children, but we also understand that sometimes kids can be over-enthusiastic with small dogs, and small dogs can become overwhelmed, and that's not always a good combination. So if you're a parent, you want to make sure that regardless of what animal you're considering to adopt into your home, that it's a good match, and certainly we're here at Animal Control to help you make a good decision and to make sure that the adoption works. But Rocky is about 17.5 pounds. He was turned in because the people just were unable to care for him financially and physically. He's a little dog, so he doesn't require quite as much work as maybe a big dog, but he would need, we would recommend crating if you're not home during the day. You want to make sure that you keep him on harness, on leash, so he's safe, because he is low to the ground. If he were to get loose, that might be a problem. And of course, within Frederick County, you want to make sure that your dogs and cats are maintained on your property. So he's a little bit nervous with the camera, but that does not disqualify him from adoption. Not everybody is enthusiastic about having their picture taken, so we don't fault him for that. But again, we do understand and we know that he's a little bit shy, and we disclose that to you. But if you're looking for a small dog, he's, again, he is adorable, he is affectionate, but needs a little bit of work. This is Rocky. So this little guy is named Snickers, and obviously he's not a dog, he's a guinea pig. He is about 4 years old, so he's sort of middle-aged for guinea pigs. Guinea pigs can live 7 to 8 years depending on the care, depending on genetics, depending on the environment they're in. The one thing about guinea pigs is that they're relatively sturdy as a pet. However, they have special requirements. So when you go to the grocery store and you own a guinea pig, you need to have on your grocery list dark greens. You want to get spinach, you want to get green peppers. You want to make sure that as part of their daily diet, they have Timothy hay. They need things to chew on. They are prey animals, so you want to make sure that at the top of the list, beyond what you feed them, is that you keep them safe, especially if you've got predatory animals in your home like dogs or cats. And that can be accommodated. Again, we are here at Animal Control to help educate. We can give you information on what cages work best, on what food works best, anything that you might need to know. The one thing you need to know about guinea pigs as well, they are just as much work as dogs and cats. People sometimes think that if an animal is smaller or if it lives in a cage, they don't need as much work. They really don't need to be handled, brushed, socialized. Guinea pigs need to be brushed. They have nails, they need to be trimmed. They need a vet visit periodically, perhaps once a year, just to make sure that everything is okay, especially as they get older. You want to make sure that they're still eating, that they're not gaining too much weight, that their teeth are still wearing down normally. You want to make sure that every 6 to 8 weeks or so you give them a bath, and it needs to be with soap that you rinse off really well. You don't want to leave any residue. You want to make sure their ears are clean. So there is a health component and a cosmetic component to guinea pigs, just like dogs and cats and other creatures. So again, this is Snickers. He is very relaxed. He's one of the most relaxed animals in the shelter at the moment, and that is amazing because he is a prey animal. So considering what he is, he should be, you know, we would expect him to be a little bit more nervous, but he's not. So this is Snickers. If you're looking for a new companion, you want to check him out at the shelter. We're going to take a short break, and after the break, we'll be back with more animals from Frederick County Animal Control.
Getting your flu vaccine is the best way to prevent getting the flu and possible complications from the flu. People most susceptible to the flu include children 5 years old or younger, people 65 years or older, pregnant women, people with health issues such as asthma, diabetes, and heart disease, and people who take medication that might weaken the immune system. If you have the flu or want to avoid getting the flu, here are some pointers. Cover your cough and sneeze with your arm or use a tissue and wash your hands. Wash your hands with soap and water. If not available, use a hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid being around sick people. Stay home from school or work if you are sick until you are free of a fever for 24 hours. Contact your healthcare provider if you are sick. To learn more about the flu, please call the Health Department Flu Information Line at 301-600-3035 or visit frederickcountymd.gov/flu.
Did you know that one of the leading causes of death in America is motor vehicle accidents? Hello, I'm Sergeant Jody Maybush of the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. According to the Maryland Motor Vehicle Administration, each year traffic crashes kill more people in Maryland than homicides, and over 90% of total crashes are preventable incidents caused by driver error. Motorists can help law enforcement in preventing these tragedies by making the right choices on the road. Remember, speed kills, so slow down. For every mile per hour that you drive, the likelihood of you being involved in a crash significantly increases. Avoid distractions such as talking, texting, or emailing while you drive, and always wear your safety belt. The most important thing is that you arrive to your destination safely. So please, drive smart and help us in keeping Maryland roadways safe.
Homegrown here is the tagline for fresh fruits, vegetables, and farm-raised products grown locally in Frederick County, Maryland. There are many places available to buy fresh, local products. Several locations offer their products at their farm market, while others use the 14 farmers markets around the county. To find out when and where these markets are available, visit www.discoverfrederickmd.com or call the Frederick County Business Development and Retention Office at 301-600-1058 and ask about our agriculture industry. Remember, fresh, high-quality farm-raised products are homegrown here in Frederick County.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. We're going to take a look now at 5 of our kitty cats that are looking for forever homes. First up is Cairo. Cairo actually came into the shelter back on July 3rd, so she has been with us for a very long time. At that time she was an underage kitten, so she went into foster care, and then once she was big enough she came back to the shelter to be adopted. So at this point she is about 7 months old. We have gone ahead and given her her rabies vaccine. She currently lives in what we call in the shelter, it's our kitty cabana. It is a room that houses more than one feline, and a lot of times the cats that are in there don't know each other at first, so we have a process in place where we introduce them in a transition cage, and then eventually we have cats that are cohabitating nicely that once upon a time did not know each other. So right now Cairo is our free roaming cat in there. She's been in there the longest, and then there are 3 other cats that are in there as well that are kind of acclimating. But she is a domestic short hair. Again, she was placed in foster care. If you've ever wondered what our foster care program does exactly, they take animals from our shelter. We do a screening process for that and an application process, but they house animals temporarily. So Cairo came in as an underage kitten, meaning that she was under 8 weeks of age, under 3 pounds of age, and went to live with somebody temporarily. And we provide all the medical care, food, litter, anything that the animal needs while they're in foster care. And the goal is to make them adoptable, which she is, so that was successful, and then to learn their personalities, to work on any behavior that might need to be taken care of. So that definitely benefits the animal, and we much appreciate our foster care providers because they spend selfless hours and sometimes months working with animals before they come back to the shelter. But Cairo is looking for a home. Again, she's been with us since July, so there's no time limit on animals that are here, but certainly at 7 months of age, we think that she deserves to be in a family of her own and not sharing a kitty cabana with 3 other cats. This little guy is Chester. He is, at this point, about 5 months old. He's another product of foster care. Arrived in the shelter back in September when he was too young to be adopted, so he went into foster care to wait till he was big enough and old enough to be adopted. So here he is in the shelter now looking for a forever home. He was originally found in a parking lot on Market Street, and that's one of the common questions adopters will ask us. Well, how do you get all these animals? We take in almost 5,000 animals every year. About half the animals we take in are previously owned. Their owners have decided they don't want them, and about half of them are stray. So Chester is an example of one of our stray kittens that was brought in. And fortunately for him, not that we ever want animals brought to our shelter. Shelters all over the country, all over the world have way too many animals that are relinquished or brought in. But in the case of underage kittens, it really is a safety net for them. We can provide them food and care and shelter and medical attention and anything that they need during the time that they're in our care. So I would much rather have Chester here in the shelter waiting for a forever home rather than being out on Market Street where he was found back in September. Anytime that you adopt an animal from the shelter, when you're adopting them, we have an adoption process. There's an application, we do some screening, and then for your benefit and for the animal's benefit, we do an adoption interview. And at that point, we review the animal's medical background, any behavioral issues, an incoming profile if they were owner relinquished. So as much information as we have, we make sure that we disclose to you as a potential adopter so you can make a good decision and that we can help you make that good decision. But Chester is, at this point, again, about 5 months old. We have some people that feel guilty about adopting kittens. Don't ever feel guilty about adopting kittens. We take in plenty of kittens every year. And if a kitten is what you want, and if you're willing to be patient and kind of wait, we do have them, through the winter months, but particularly during the summer months. But Chester is just one example of some of the kittens that we have in the shelter that is looking for a forever home. Next little kitty that we've got to take a look at is Daisy. She's actually not so little. She's going on about 12 pounds, but she's about 6.5 years old. And Daisy has been with us, I believe, the longest of any of our felines. She's been with us since March 20th, 2014, so going on quite a few months. When she came in, she was relinquished by her owners. They said they could no longer afford her, so that's how she ended up with us. Just for information, we do have information on financial assistance if you're having problems providing vet care to your pets. If you need food for your pets, we do have a food bank you need to apply for if you're within Frederick County, so there's rules that go along with that. But we make every effort when animals are being relinquished by owners to keep the pet with their owner. We certainly take in enough animals every year that we would prefer that animals stay with their owners, but in the case of Daisy, that was not possible. So she came into the shelter, and having never been in a shelter before, very, very shy. She had stopped eating at one point, so we sent her into foster care to kind of bring her out of her shell a little bit and monitor her and provide her a home environment for a temporary time. So that's what we've done with Daisy. So now she's back in the shelter, and we're trying to acclimate her back here so she gets showcased and she gets seen, and hopefully will get adopted. But Daisy is typically, she does eat. She has gotten over that inappetence. She is affectionate. She's well-mannered. She uses a litter box. So there's a lot going on for her. Unfortunately, she does show here as very shy. So when you're visiting cats on our adoption floor, we can certainly help you visit with them. And sometimes with cats like Daisy, you don't want to pull them out of their housing units. You want to make sure you visit with them inside their housing units. And if you ask our staff or volunteers, they can help you do that. But Daisy is already spayed. She is current on vaccines. We test all of our cats for feline leukemia and feline AIDS, and she's negative on both of those. And again, she's been with us since March. And while she's been in foster care for most of that time, we firmly believe that she deserves a family of her own, a house of her own, where there will be minimal transition between her and a carrying case. So if you're looking for a younger cat, and 6.5 years is on the younger side for cats, Daisy is available, and again has been in foster care, so we know lots of information about her habits. If you want to ask, we will be happy to answer. Grace is another cat that is looking for a forever home at our shelter. She is about 6 to 7 years old. She's been in our shelter since June. So again, there's no time limit. Animals can stay with us as long as they're temperamentally sound and their behavior is okay and they're eating and they're healthy. And Grace meets all that criteria, so we still have her here. But what we would much rather see is for Grace to go to a forever home. She came in as a stray, so we don't have any background information prior to June. And again, she represents about half of our animal population that we take in every year of being a stray animal. She was found, I guess, on Patrick Street in Frederick, so we know that these animals are from our community. Unfortunately, their owners have not come in for them or don't claim ownership. Grace is a good little girl. She's a little bit shy, and that's sometimes challenging, especially with cats. We've got some bold cats. When you walk on our adoption floor, they will reach out and say hello. We've got greeter cats in our first cages. Grace is one of those cats. She's very sweet, very quiet, and she doesn't really stand out in the masses of the cats that we've got. So we wanted to showcase her today. She was on Pet Pals prior back in July, but because she's still in our shelter, we wanted to give her a second look and kind of put out a plea that she really is deserving of a good home. And if you think you can provide a good home for her, she's here. She is, again, 6 to 7 years old, so her adoption fee is discounted, not because she's worth less, but it's an incentive for people to adopt our older pets. So if you're looking for a calm, quiet, and well-mannered cat, Grace would be a good choice for you. This is Azrael, and Azrael might offer me some competition in the talking today. She wants to tell you about herself all by herself, but she's a repeat also on Pet Pals. She's been on the show before, and she came to us the middle of September. And the reason we picked Azrael, she's got gorgeous green eyes and she can hold up her end of the conversation, but she's a senior. She's about 14 years old, and she was turned in by an owner believe they were moving, relocating, and unable to take her along. So we are a last resort for some animals. They had nowhere else to place her, so she's here with us. But she has a great personality. She's got a great temperament. Again, she can hold up her end of the conversation, so when you're having your morning coffee in the kitchen and you want somebody to talk to, she can certainly help you out with that. But we don't discriminate here on age. If an animal is well-adjusted and temperamentally sound and in good health, we do place them for adoption. And I know with cats, sometimes people are concerned 14 sounds old. 14 is a senior age, but certainly cats can live way past 14 years, provided that, as long as you provide them safety and vet care and good nutrition. And even at 14, she does not have any significant health issues. She's got some tartar on her molars, so that's normal for her age. But Azrael is certainly deserving of a good home and somebody that will take care of her and appreciate her, and that will also be able to enjoy her talking. So this is Azrael, one of the many cats that's available for adoption at our facility. And that wraps it up for this week's episode of Pet Pals. We appreciate your being with us. We would like to see you visit our shelter if you're looking for a new pet, and certainly we are here 6 days a week, and cats like Azrael, dogs like Oliver are looking for homes. So thanks for being with us this week, and we'll see you next time on Pet Pals.